Tonight, President Biden is walking a fine line with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, offering some of his harshest criticism yet. In a new interview with Time magazine, the president was asked whether he thought Netanyahu is prolonging the war for his own political self-preservation. He said, "I'm not going to comment on that. There is every reason for people to draw that conclusion." That response is drawing backlash from Israel.
It is outside the diplomatic norms of every right-thinking country to comment on the leaders, whether they should be a prime minister or not be a prime minister.
Today, I asked the president to clarify, and he walked the comments back.
Is Prime Minister Netanyahu playing politics with the war?
I don't think so. He's trying to work out a serious problem he has.
Asked by Time whether Israeli forces have committed war crimes in Gaza, President Biden answered that it's uncertain and has been investigated by the Israelis themselves. The president also saying he did not think Israel was starving civilians intentionally, but I think they've engaged in activity that is inappropriate. Still, even after this warning to Israel last month,
They go into Rafah. I'm not supplying the weapons.
the U.S. is still backing its ally. Now, with ceasefire negotiations stalled, today the White House National Security Advisor met with families of the hostages, including Omer Nutra's mother.
Once again, we're in this cycle where everyone is waiting on an answer, right? We're really, really hoping that the deal goes through.
The president also says his biggest disagreement with the prime minister is about what should happen after the war and whether there's a two-state solution. Lester?
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.